Well, we've seen an incredibly active weather pattern over the last several days, and we're even dealing with what's left of Chantal continuing to move north into North Carolina. It moved ashore in South Carolina. Look how it really blossomed up before it did so, too. A lot of heavy rain here with this as it moves north and east. Further to the west, not a lot of rain across the Ohio Valley, sort of the same thing we were looking at yesterday. However, things will be changing over the next couple of days, and unfortunately, it does look like we're going to see more rain showers and some thunderstorms across parts of Texas. It's still a very active region, and with a ground that is super saturated, all it takes is a cluster of storms just like this to form, and now you've got big problems. So this is an area that everyone is clearly watching, again, for more severe weather and also flooding problems. Severe weather also expands as we head through the next couple of days. We're going to get into that in this video today. Hope your Sunday is going well today, guys. Good morning, good afternoon, whatever time you're watching this. If you're joining live, you can always back it up and take it from the beginning. But let's look at what's going on as we head through the rest of the week. A decent ridge in the northeast keeping things hot. Also across the southwest, pretty hot here as well. And in between, it's kind of disturbed, I think, in between these two large ridges of warm air. All right, as we head through the weekend, or the week, I guess, toward the weekend, one thing I think you got to watch is this trough that's swinging into the west by Thursday and Friday. As that moves east, do we end up with some sort of severe weather out ahead of this? Still a little too early to pinpoint how that's going to work out, but I think you watch it. And then maybe into next weekend, a little bit of a short wave swinging through the Central Plains. This could cause some severe weather on the front end of this trough as it kicks off to the east. Something worth watching anyway. Let's look at the rain totals. These are touch numbers from the Weather Prediction Center. Still expecting a couple of inches, 2, 3, 4 inches, in some cases as much as 6 inches in some of the higher rain bands across parts of North Carolina. That heavy rain moves into Virginia as we head into this evening and to tonight as well. And then back across the central U.S., all eyes on Texas again here for the potential for some heavy rain. 2, 3, 4 inches, certainly not out of the question. Let's just hope we're not dealing with what we saw earlier this week. And again, it looks like the ingredients aren't quite there compared to what we saw. Definitely a concern, though, as you're dealing with a very saturated ground. So it wouldn't take a whole lot to cause a huge, huge problem here. Heavier rain also up into Nebraska, where we're expecting some severe weather as well tomorrow. Here's where the storms are going to be strong today across parts of Kansas, north up into Colorado, Nebraska, into North Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas. Again, some of these storms could get strong back here into western parts of these states, also into Maine, and then here into parts of Michigan, Ohio, and then into parts of Indiana. There could be a few strong storms heading into this afternoon. The highest tornado risk right around that circulation, too, with Chantal here off of right along the north, really the south and North Carolina coast as those feeder bands move in. You got a lot of wind shear with your tropical system making landfall. And then also up here into Nebraska, Colorado, also northern Kansas. Heading into tomorrow, though, that risk increases across Nebraska, Kansas. Also further to the east, we're talking about Erie up to Buffalo, Rochester, all the way north up into northern Vermont. Maybe a few strong storms into the afternoons, damaging winds possible, but back here there could be some tornadoes. That risk going up here into parts of Nebraska, also northeast Colorado and into Kansas. And then your day 3 convective outlook pushes the storms along the east coast and then a little bit further south into Oklahoma, Missouri, also Iowa as we look at Tuesday. Let's look at the future radar, show you how things are shaping up on this Sunday. Unfortunately, look at these storms blossoming over central Texas near Austin again. You don't like to see this, right? Not good news for an area that does not need to see more rain. More showers and storms also forming up here into Missouri this afternoon and this evening, into Illinois and Indiana. Some of the big storms also going here along the front range from Wyoming, Colorado, down into New Mexico, into the mountains here. We could see some big-time storms fire up this afternoon. And these storms race east heading into this evening and tonight across parts of Nebraska. So some damaging winds possible with these. And then heading into Monday, storms really start to pick up. I'm going to go back to the earlier run. This is the 6Z run of the HRRR. Let's go over to the 3K NAM. And yep, this is live if you're joining the stream today. All right, there we go. Much better. So this goes out a little bit further. So once we get into tonight, into tomorrow, that's what I'm looking for. These storms across North Dakota, also Colorado, Nebraska, these could get intense heading into the afternoon and evening on Monday. And those push south into Kansas, Iowa, once we head into Tuesday morning, Tuesday afternoon, maybe a little bit more of a threat further to the east, but not as strong as what we're looking at on Monday. Here's a look at your high temperatures today. Hot across the south. Clouds keeping things cool and damp across Texas. Again, not what you want to see. And then a little bit cooler further to the north. Let's go east toward the Great Lakes now. Showers and storms here this afternoon into this evening. Some of these could get strong, especially across parts of Michigan. Northwest of Detroit up towards Gaylord, some of these storms start to fire up heading into the afternoon and evening. Kind of an interesting look here. So some wind shear, a few of these could get on the strong side. Storm Prediction Center looking at this region, not a huge risk, but worth noting. Some of these could pulse up heading into the afternoon and evening, and those continue to push off to the east into parts of southern Ontario as we head into tonight. They do start to weaken, and then there comes the remnants of Chantal moving up into Virginia. We'll look at the southeast a little bit closer in just a second, but heading into Monday, our front drops to the south and east, so do the storms. So now we're looking at parts of Pennsylvania, down into Kentucky, West Virginia. Bit of a break further to the north and west, and then here comes more rain into Wisconsin, also Iowa as we head into Tuesday. And here's a look at your temperatures as we progress through the afternoon. If you get clouds, you're going to get showers and storms, and clearly temperatures on the models are being affected by this. Further to the south we go. It's clear to see what we're watching here. Chantal moving into North Carolina, bringing some heavy rain from, what are we looking at? Winston-Salem over to Greensboro, Raleigh. Severe weather possible here along the coast with those feeder bands. And then that moves north into Virginia, spinning along as it does. The NAM is trying to pull the rain back a little bit, but I don't know, maybe underdoing things. But heading into tomorrow, there's your front dropping south. We're drying out across the Carolinas. You kind of got an old front here, and then look at this, showers forming heading into Tuesday across the southeast. Here's a look at your temperatures today. Clearly held back because of the clouds and the rain into the 70s and 80s, but very tropical, though. Dew point's very close to your temperature, so it feels absolutely miserable if you can get the sun popping out with dew points in the 70s. Hot, though, from Cincinnati to Charleston to Huntington, West Virginia, even the mountains up here into places like Bluefield, up to Beckley, down into Boone, although Boone may be a little cooler, but pretty warm down to Asheville. But get down into the valley, though, here to Knoxville, back to Nashville, we're into the 90s. Very, very hot. Let's look at the northeast. This is where some big storms could get going this afternoon here across Vermont, Maine, especially dropping some heavy rain at times as these push off to the east. And now we're looking at Monday. Storms could get pretty strong heading into the afternoon and evening. Timestamp above my head, 4 or 5, 6 o'clock. Storms start to march off to the east. So Syracuse down to as far south, I think, as Harrisburg. Some of these storms could get strong up towards Allentown. North and west of Pittsburgh, though, it looks like, and north and west of New York City and Boston. But some showers possible as our front sags off to the south. And here's a look at your temperatures. Hot today. Boston could get into the upper 80s to lower 90s. Same for Springfield, back to, Bristol, Hartford, New York City, pushing 90 today. So really, really warm. A little bit cooler as our front moves through on Monday with a few showers. And then behind that, some cooler temperatures, at least for parts of northern New England. And then eventually that pushes down toward the coast with temperatures not in the 90s, but back into the 80s. Let's look across the west. Look at this. Not a lot going on west of the mountains here. It is hot. It is dry. The monsoon kind of turning off here with temperatures hot across the Great Basin. We're back into the 90s across parts of eastern Oregon and Washington, even Boise pushing close to 90. So we're heating up again across the west. All right, that's all I got for this video, guys. Again, pay attention to the weather. If you're in Texas today, watch the weather. I mean, you could get it with a really saturated ground. Pay attention to things as we head into the afternoon and evening. If you look at at weather.gov right now, still flood watches out for this part of Texas. Also, further to the east where we're dealing with Chantal. And, of course, it is hot across the far southwest. Zooming in, again, that's the problem would be here across central Texas with all of those flood watches out for this region. So stay weather aware. Hope you have a great one. See you next time.